Welcome to this. Oh, that's the one thing John asked me to do. Welcome to the Citadel GrayLine. My name's Kyle Weaver. I'm here with Jeff Hartsell, our other regular, and Coach Baucom from Citadel basketball. And we're going to talk a little bit about the SoCon football and how some other teams played out in the playoffs, and then also basketball season and how that's going for you guys, and what we can look forward to, and what games we can get to, and all that. So,
all right.
First, let's just talk about Citadel football, and really SoCon. So we talked about just pre-show. Wofford ended up losing, as well as Furman.
Right. SoCon had two teams make the playoffs. Wofford, which won the league championship, and Furman got an at-large bid. Unfortunately, the league went 0-2 in the FCS playoffs. Wofford lost at home to Kennesaw State, which was from the Big South, and actually an at-large team from the Big South, so the number 2 team from the Big South. And then Furman went on the road to Austin Peay in a rainstorm and got pounded. I can't remember the final score, but it wasn't close.
Which former coach is actually at Austin from Citadel, Coach
Craig Candido.
Yep.
Who you might remember, I think he was a Naval Academy guy and a jet pilot.
Right. Then he had some health issues.
Right.
Ended up coaching. He was at the Citadel my first year, I believe.
Went to Georgia Tech with Paul Johnson for a while,
yep.
and you're right, is now at Austin Peay, which apparently is very good.
Yeah.
So because they pounded Furman, and of course that was the second year in a row that Kennesaw State has beaten Wofford in the playoffs. So good postseason for the Big South, not so great for the Southern Conference. Who knows how that will play into things next year? Probably not at all.
Right.
When it comes to who might get a bid. And the Citadel football schedule just came out this morning, so folks can check that out.
So we start off with pretty strong non-conference.
Five of the first 7 are at home. I don't have it right in front of me. We already knew that they were playing Elon, Clemson, and Charleston Southern in the non-conference. 5 of the first 7 are at home, which means 3 of the last 4 are on the road. So a chance to get off to a good start. They opened with Elon at home, and the last 2 games are at Clemson and at Western Carolina. So a chance to get off to a good start, but a tough back end to this next year's schedule.
Right. And do we know anything about recruiting and what that looks like? We had the early signing
date. John Rawl and I discussed that last week and went over some of the commitments. I don't have them here in front of me, but there's about 5 commitments that I know of so far. They're probably going to sign 7 or 8 on the 18th, and then the rest of the class in February. I think it's going to end up being 10 or 12 guys, something like that. And there's a couple of kickers among the guys that are committed so far. So yeah, it'll be interesting on the 18th to see who they bring into the fold.
Yeah, very exciting, and something that definitely has changed college football. And just transitioning to basketball now, I know you said you're hitting the road tomorrow to do some recruiting, so let's just talk a little bit about that and just the state of your program and how the season's going.
Yeah, so we just finished our 5th game, our 10th game last night. We're 5-5. When we concluded last night, the guys broke for exams. So we're in our exam period now. Today's kind of a reading day. Exams start tomorrow. Interesting, with the hurricane, we have exams on Sunday.
Wow.
Not many schools have that. So we have them on Saturday and Sunday. So we'll go through Wednesday. Wednesday we'll practice, hit the road, and head to Longwood. Go up and play Longwood, a return game from them coming here last year. They're in the Big South. And then we'll continue that trip on up to Raleigh and play NC State, the ACC, on the 22nd, and then break for Christmas.
So, Coach, you're 5-5 so far. A couple of nice road wins a couple of weeks ago. Just talk about how you feel about the season so far. Are you encouraged?
Yeah,
I'm a bunch of young guys and new faces.
Yeah, last night 3 of our top leading scorers were all freshmen, and so we started out 0-3, lost 2 home games that weren't thrilled about, with a good Campbell team and a really rejuvenated UNC Asheville team.
They both turned out to be pretty good teams.
Yeah, really
this year,
good team.
Yeah.
Both really good teams. And then we played at Georgia, played really well at Georgia, but lost. So we start out 0-3, and to get back to 5-5, we've been pretty pleased with that. Having played at Marist, at Southeast Missouri State, at Illinois, and then a couple home games.
And have done a lot of that without Hayden Brown, who's missed several games with a hamstring. How's Hayden doing? Will he be back for Longwood and NC State?
Yeah, we're expecting him back for Longwood. Yeah, it's been interesting. We played the whole road trip basically without him. I think he played 10 minutes the entire road trip, and we won 2 or 3. Then we tried to play him against East Tennessee State, our one conference game that we've had, who were preseason favorites, and he played probably played 8 minutes actively.
And the team played well, and he played well during that period
Yeah,
before he got hurt.
Yeah, we were up 4,
Yeah.
and playing good. He scored 12 points in that little bit of time, and
Right.
then he goes down, and they go on like a 14-2 run, and we lose by 12. But I was really pleased with our guys' effort during that game because ETSU is good. I mean, they're really, really good. I mean, they were unanimous favorites for a reason. Proud of the guys. I mean, where we are as young as we are. Jackson Brown, who's projected probably our best freshman, he's played 2 games because of injury, and he's going to be out till probably after Christmas if we get him back then. So he's going through some stress reaction things in his leg, and get Hayden's hamstring back right. And then multiple games we've lost guys for either illness, sickness, fever. Yeah. And then some other, concussions. We had 2 out for concussions, so we haven't played with our whole team, but like 1 game. So it'll be nice to get everybody back in the fold, hopefully by conference play.
Caden Rice has had a couple of really good scoring games. Talk about his development this year. He's got to be more of the man this year, I guess.
Yeah. There are more shots to go around. Graduating Lou Zane and Matt. Yeah, we needed him to really step up, and he had 30 the other day on Saturday, and he only had 11 last night, but made some other nice plays. Didn't play as many minutes last night as he normally does. Like I said, the freshman carried the bulk of the scoring last night. I think Kalen Harris is playing well.
Yep.
Really proud of him, especially the board work he's been doing. I mean, he's averaging over 8 rebounds a game, and very proud of him for that. He's done a lot of that in Hayden's absence. So a lot of times he's the biggest guy on the court, or at least fighting the biggest guys on the court. And then Fletcher A.B. is probably our most consistent freshman that we've had. He had 27 last night, 6 and 9 from 3. He's also our best defender. Comes from a great high school program in Morgan Freedom High School.
How does he compare to Matt Frierson as a 3-point shooter?
Matt might be a more pure 3-point shooter, but Fletcher can put it on the floor. Fletcher can handle the ball. Fletcher, much better defender. Fletcher's more athletic. Where Matt, if you had to have just a shooting contest, Matt would probably be your guy. If you had an overall complete player, probably Fletcher. Both amazing kids, both great students, and Fletcher wants to be a doctor, so that's the kind of kid you want to coach. I got some really bright freshmen. All the freshmen in our program are way smarter than me, and have great GPAs. I really don't worry about them at exam time. Just go take care of your work, and we make concessions when we make up labs and stuff like that. We have 3 guys on the team that want to be doctors, so
nice.
That is great a selling point for recruits, but it's tough managing all the labs and trying to get in practice time and having everybody there together.
Yeah. Talk about your 2 transfers and how they're fitting in squad. Tyson Batiste at the point, and then Eddie Davis in the post.
Yeah, Tyson's been a godsend, really. I mean, he's a complete player who team first. Everything's team first. He's a good vocal leader. Not the best shooter. Never going to be the best shooter, but is pretty good decision maker. Likes getting everybody else involved. Likes playing his role. He's the voice in practice. He's the voice in the locker room. He's come in and really made himself at home. I think he really appreciates his opportunity. I mean, he's a bright kid. He finished Central Connecticut for 3 years. So he's an academic kid, very bright, but he's great for our guys to understand what we actually have at the Citadel. We gave them our gear the first day, and he told the guys, he said, guys, y'all got more gear today than I got in my 3 years at Central Connecticut State. So he puts things in perspective for our kids. So when they think they have it bad, and woe is me, I have to march and I have to wear a uniform, Tyson said, nah, you're actually benefiting from this. You got coaches that care about you. And, he loves the way we practice, very up tempo, and so he's been outstanding. And then Eddie Davis was a late addition because of the injury to Connor Kern, which was career ending for him. Eddie is a big body. He's had some good games. Last night he didn't play good. Last night, when you play a Division-III team, they're a tad smaller. that's not really Eddie's forte, is banging with smaller guys. You know, he'd rather bang with bigger guys. But he's had some really good games. We wouldn't have won the Mariners game without him. We ran a slip play at the end of the game, and he dunked it for the winning basket. He's developing right along. Yeah, the process for him, he's been hurt so much his career, is to keep him in shape.
You know,
so I help with that.
When you turn to the league, we thought it might take a step backward with the loss of some good players and Mike Young going to Virginia Tech, but I don't think it has, Coach. I mean, some of the teams that were toward the bottom of the league have gotten better, like Western Carolina and Chattanooga. Really had good seasons so far, so I don't see any drop off at all.
Now, Western's definitely better. They got a kid in a transfer from Northern Kentucky who's really a good player, and Chattanooga has transfers from everywhere.
Guy from Vanderbilt is really playing well.
Yeah, and they're having a great pre-conference season. VMI's been playing well, and
Furman should have won at Auburn. What a heartbreaker that was.
Should have won at Auburn, and played Alabama. I mean, Furman hadn't taken a step back at all. And
Noah Gurley he's a man.
Yeah. I mean, Bob's done a great job with that team, and UNCG, watching them play, they go up to Georgetown and win. I mean,
you mentioned UTSU, how good they are.
Yeah, I mean,
they look like
they look like a
tournament team. Yeah.
They do. I mean, they have no weaknesses. They got great guards. They got size inside. And I told Steve after the game, I said, the difference in this year's team is you really share the ball. Like last year, guys would make plays, and if their play broke down, they'd kick it to somebody else. This year, they actually share the ball, and they're a lot harder to guard.
The kid who scored 23 in the first half against you comes off the bench.
Yeah, doesn't start. Yeah,
so that's nice.
Yeah. What a luxury that would be. We held him to 2 the second half. I was pleased with that, but you can't let a guy come off the bench and hit 23. I told my guys, but yeah, Trey Boyd, he's a good player. And both guards, Williamson and Boyd, come off the bench for them. At guard would start for any other team in the league, which is says something about your talent pool that you have.
What do you? I saw Coach K on YouTube talking about Mike Young the other day, and people around ACC country are discovering what we've known for a long time, how good of a coach Mike Young is.
He's a really good coach. You know, I thought it would be an interesting fit there with his personality and Buzz's personality, how different they are. But he stepped in and taken what he had left. Now he inherited a really good player they had sitting out, and he's played very, very well for them. I mean, when they beat Michigan State, he played extremely well. But Mike's a great coach. I mean, he knows his stuff. He's run a lot of the same stuff he ran in the SoCon, just probably doing it with a little more talented players. And there's nobody's going to question, how well he knows the game. Hopefully with his assistants' help, they'll get ACC caliber players in there.
I guess that's the question when the coach moves up a level, how they're going to do in recruiting against Duke and North Carolina and teams like that.
And Virginia Tech's always kind of been that. Buzz got them to the Sweet 16, but they've always had players less than, the big. Well, it used to be the big two, Duke and Carolina, but now you're battling Louisville for players also. Florida State always has players. So he's got a tough task in that regard. Now, once he gets them on the floor, he can coach them up. There's no doubt about that.
So returning to your team, what's it going to take in January, February for your team to be competitive in the league that looks like it's just as good as it was last year?
Yeah, help for sure. Guys going to have to take care of themselves. Try to, everybody got flu shots this year. We missed a bunch of games last year with the flu. Flu kind of just ran through our team, but hopefully we won't have any of that. But just getting healthy. Pre-conference, we've had more injuries than we've had any year I've been here. So, especially when it's your best player, your most needed player with size. And what Hayden can do that makes him so valuable is he can drag people out, make post players lead the paint. That was our whole goal with ETSU.
I thought we saw that a little bit against ETSU. They had a 7-footer on him, and it was a mismatch in Hayden's favor for a few trips down the court.
Yeah, and that's what we were hoping for the entire game. So he's vital in getting him back because he's really worked on his game, his perimeter game, and my staff's done a great job with his full development. So we need him to be able to do that and keeping him healthy. it's going to be tough. And then the freshmen just to keep coming along like they are, and then getting consistent production and effort from Caden Rice and Kalen Harris. And then, Derek Webster gave us good minutes last night. Alex Reed gave us great energy last night. So some of the returners to just basically play their role and do it the best they can.
Duggar, I'm sure you've thought a lot about this. Why do you think, at VMI you won 20 games twice and had some really great seasons? You haven't been able to get to that level yet at the Citadel. Have you thought about why it hasn't happened that way yet?
Yeah.
You want me to give you my opinion?
Yeah.
Back then you were on the cutting edge. You were an innovator in the way your team played, and I think the environment of college basketball has sort of turned your way.
Yeah.
Do you think that's, and I think the SoCon is a tougher environment than maybe the Big South was back then too.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of factors. I think basketball's changed. We were playing 4 guards before anybody else was playing 4 guards, and now that's just kind of commonplace. But there's other factors too, like, I think we were 37 and, 12 or 37 and 13 on Saturdays at VMI. We didn't lose on Saturdays. It didn't matter who we were playing because the atmosphere was so great.
Because the cadets were required to be there?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
The cadets have to be there. So, it was an unbelievable environment. We went to Wright State, lost by 30, played them the very next year with the exact same team, beat them by 20 on that Saturday. Had the same thing happen at Marist. Went up to Marist, got hammered, and Marist came back on a Saturday. We always scheduled those return games on a Saturday, beat them 20 plus. So just went to Howard one year and lost by 4. Came back, played them on a Saturday, beat them by 56. So
you had a real home court advantage.
Yeah, and they still do. That's why we haven't beat them up there. We lost by 3 last year. We kind of had a meltdown at the end, but yeah. I mean, the core gets in there and gets rocking, and they have a lot more basketball tradition there than we have here. I mean, 107 years, 220-win seasons.
Right, and they had a Sweet 16 team or Final Four? Or what was it?
Elite 8 team back, in the 70s, and a Sweet 16 team. So they won games in the tournament. That was back when it was 32 teams, but that was a long, long time ago. But people still care about basketball, and we found that's been quite the challenge here. And then there's other things, having the unity, having the same strength coach for I had the same strength coach at VMI for 10 years. I'm getting ready to go through my 5th one in 4 years and a 3rd. So just continuity with support staff and things like that. I mean, there's all kind of factors, but style of play is certainly one thing. And we're playing in the best SoCon that's ever been in the history of the SoCon. RPI and Net say that. Last year was the greatest year ever in SoCon play, and this year, like you said, it's following right up. So kind of hit it at a bad time. Also, it's not the 27th for. I remember being in the meeting with John Imarino, Mercer. It was VMI, Mercer, and ETSU all coming back to the league, or Mercer coming in for the first time. But the league had been ranked like 25th out of 32 teams. And he said, this is just awful. This has to get better. And so we come in there that first year at VMI. I think we win 7 conference games. We get the bye, with 7 conference wins. And that league's not the same now. Last year we were 11th. So from 25th to 11th, 24th to 11th, that's a huge jump.
It's really remarkable considering the loss of College of Charleston and Davidson from the league to see it rise to this height.
Yeah, you just got commitment. I mean, what they're paying Steve Forbes at ETSU and the commitment they've made to him and the commitment that Kim makes to, Wes at UNCG without football. And, I mean, there's the Furman, obviously, Wofford, they've gotten better and have made more commitment to their staffs and different things. I mean, the whole league, I think they understand that basketball, a lot of things be able to are done at college programs at our level because of college basketball, because of all the money March Madness brings in. Winthrop, Wofford winning a game. Winthrop back in the Big South when I was there, them winning games helped the Big South. Now Wofford winning a game last year. If they'd, Fletcher McGee makes a 3, doesn't go over 12, they have a great chance to beat Kentucky. And if they win that game, that's a whole nother share that everybody splits. So a lot of money in basketball. So schools have been wise to invest in that. and understand that if we invest, then that's where our return on investment is going to be.
And so we talked a lot. You talked about the difference between Citadel and BMI with the core cadets, and so I remember when I was there the last few years, the new commandant, they tried to improve that. What is currently being done to encourage cadets to come to games? And you feel like that is going successful or kind of backwards?
Can I plead the fifth?
All right, fair enough.
Yeah, I'll just say from a staff standpoint, we've done everything, given ideas, tried to make things happen.
And December is a tough time. I think the real story is if they can get them to come out in January and February.
Yeah, and we're
those
hopeful.
Home games.
We're certainly hopeful of that. We've been hopeful for how I got hired actually from BMI is we played in the first Pack the Mac event, and we won, and that was like a on-the-job audition basically. We actually beat Citadel 3 times that year, and but the last one was a 17-point win at Pack the Mac, and it was full, and I said, wow, Citadel's finally made a commitment. And they actually had given kids basketball shirts, fed them outside the arena and all. It's February 15th of, I guess, 15, and we won. So when I got the job, they said, well, we'll have 3 of these a year, and that hadn't really been the case. I thought we could have 3 a year. You can make them in conference. That would help you a lot. But we try to have 1 a year. We never had one in my 4 years of being here like the one we played in. It's actually my screensaver. That place is packed, and it's full. So, Kyle, to answer your question, we've approached the regimental commander about doing some things to help us and giving some incentives. The crazy thing, we looked up the other day, my staff, we have 53 years. My staff has 53 years experience at being a military school. I'm either coaching there, playing there, going to school there. So within our staff, 53 years. And the main thing, you have to do is incentivize the kids to come. They have great crowds at VMI right now because they're doing a simple thing like they call it optional BRC, meaning that you don't have to wake up for breakfast formation, and optional hay down, which means they can keep their cot down. They don't have to put it up for the day. So something as small as that, their weekday crowds have been great with cadets. They'll have several hundred cadets there on a weekly basis. We probably hadn't had 100 cadets at 4 home games combined, 5 home games combined. So
optional hay down. Nice. Let's write that down.
Yeah.
So does a lot of this fall on the regimental commander? I mean, that's kind of surprising that you said you reached out to him, or does this fall on the commandant? Does this fall on Jenkins Hall? Does this fall on the new president?
You're trying to get coach in trouble.
Yeah. No, I think it's a combination of everybody. It's got to be important to everybody.
I mean, these are the people who watch this show are, avid sports people for the Citadel. So we all know at the Citadel that the alumni's voice has a lot of, influence negatively or, positively. So that's my hope is.
Well, I think the general's been nothing but supportive. He's at a lot of the games, and he's been phenomenally supportive since I've been there. He's had the team over to his house to eat, and that was a great experience for all my guys to sit there with the 4-star general, and that was an awesome experience for my coaches and everybody. But it takes I used to sign my emails at VMI. It takes everyone to win, and it really does. I mean, from the commandant staff to the TAC officers to everybody. If it's important to you, then it takes everybody, and that's what basketball, and it's nobody's fault. Basketball's just been awful. I wouldn't have wanted to go watch it either, but winning is not. Last year we were 9-2 at this point, and our crowds are the same as they are now. So winning is not the only formula for it. People say you win, they'll come. Nah, there's still PlayStation and Fortnite and studies and different things going on that people will do this day and time. So I don't know, Kyle, that there's a rock solid answer other than it just takes
time.
Yeah.
Let's turn to the field house if we have a second. I was sitting in the stands the other night, and I didn't even know there was a ribbon board on the press box. I think the court looks great with the video board and the relatively new floor, right, on the court. What's the next priority? And you have a nice locker room that was renovated not too long ago. What's the next priority at the field house, do you think, that needs to happen?
Well, is going to happen is next year everybody will be sitting in new seat backs, which
Okay.
will be nice.
Yeah.
So on the home side, there'll be new seat back chairs. It's already been budgeted for. They actually were going to go in at Christmas of this year, but they were scared that there might be a glitch or something, and that would affect conference play. So didn't want to take a chance with that. So they'll be installed this summer. Mike's done a great job of prioritizing some things there. The floor was given to us by an alum. Jimmy Reed, a local guy here, gave us a check a couple years ago. So it's been down, I guess, 3 years now. Get a lot of compliments on the painting, City of Charleston on it, and Barracks on it, and State C, and using the Citadel blue, the red and white checkerboard of Barracks, battalions. So that's been awesome. And then, like you say, the ribbon board's nice. Mills does a great job keeping people informed on the sideboards. Who's scoring what, the rebound.
Video board over the court.
Yeah, got the
Looks
video
great.
board over the court. It's
So I think the seats are the next thing that needs to happen. Some of them are not in good shape.
I don't have to sit on. Thank you, goodness. But
you never sit during the game.
I don't sit. I lean against the ribbon board. But no, but it is. They've been in there a long time. Like the floor I inherited had been in there 30 plus years. So much so that they couldn't sand it down anymore. Like it couldn't be.
Yeah.
All they could do is keep putting lacquer on it. And Jim told me that. I mean, he was very open with that when he got the job. But Jimmy Reed stepped up and made that happen, which was really good, and happy about that. But yeah, so it's getting more cozy. The seats will be nice. Just need to put more people in them.
More people in them.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a silly question, Coach. Years ago, the shorts were baggy as they could get them, and some of them were almost falling off. And now we've gone the complete other way. What has happened with the shorts?
The Michael Jordan effect, the Fab Five effect on, the long shorts. So back when I played, we had I'm really dating myself. I had a belt on my shorts, and they were short. And so then Jordan came around, and, the length started down, and then the Fab Five, it started down. I remember Arkansas one time when they won it, like maybe 94, they were down below their knees. And
do you know what's turned it?
Well, several years ago, when the AAU circuit guys started rolling their shorts up to making them shorter, and it's one of those things that just becomes kind of a fad. And actually, this year with Adidas, they have a slimmer cut, so our guys are cut tighter. I think guys, are in the weight room a lot more, like Kyle was when he was there playing. They like to show off what they worked so hard to develop, and I think basketball players have certainly got to that. Coach Castleberry, I got pictures of him and Coach Bell playing at VMI, and their jerseys are hanging off of them, and now they're so fitted, and the guys like that. So
I like the slim cut shorts and shirts.
Kind of off topic, but kind of not. You guys saw that the other day. Chris Paul called out somebody for having his shirt untucked at the free throw line. It ended up getting him a delay game. They ended up losing the game because they didn't get to shoot the free throws. Like this big deal, but kind of on uniforms. But I thought that was kind of comical to see that Chris Paul and this guy's head.
Chris Paul being savvy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean the uniform games always change. I mean football's the same way. I guess not as much as but still always has it. I know LeBron made a big deal about his sleeves a few years ago and how that affects the shot. I mean, basketball players and athletes in general are very superstitious on that type of stuff. So
who among your kids wears the most
swag?
Under Armour, pads?
Oh
and,
yeah, we'll say Adidas undergarment.
Undergarment.
Yeah.
Hayden wears a lot.
Hayden wears. Kalen, some of those things are padded.
Right.
So when you're in there battling inside, they're called girdles, I guess.
Yeah.
They help, but I would say it's Kaylin Harris, Hayden Brown. Those are the main two. Some guys will do it in phases. I just tell them whatever you wear in practice, wear in the game, because practice like you play. And I'm not into all that stuff, but if it makes them perform better, we're so regimented to sit. I used to be. I mean, my Tusculum team thought they were at a military school because I was so. Everybody had to look a lot alike. I don't know if age. My coaches say I've gotten softer, but I have kind of changed with the times and let them have a little. As long as it's not a detriment to the team, it doesn't impede them from what they're doing, but it does give them a little bit of.
That has to do a lot with recruiting. I mean, kids will make decisions off of how much gear they're gonna get, or how much, like what they're gonna get to wear, how they're gonna look on game day? I mean, you guys see that they get to wear the uniforms on recruiting trips. I mean, I remember my trip, we had a whole table full of stuff, and I think during my time there, I might have seen, I've seen it all, but like, you don't,
You
it's
don't
not like
actually
handed out
get it.
for you.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, but on the recruiting trip, that was like something that was really highlighted. Like, oh, I'm going to be wearing this, and then
Yeah.
you get to wear it maybe once. And football is different than basketball just because of the amount of people that you have to be able to give to. But, I mean, it's a recruiting factor for sure of how players are going to look wearing whatever it may be.
Oregon, they've taken it to another level, with Nike and all the crazy stuff they've done in football. They've done it in basketball also. But, oh, yeah, that's a huge thing for kids now. Yeah, I'm not really in that world. I got to convince them to march and wear a uniform and, to get up for formation. But it's still, Kyle, to your point, I mean, when a kid comes, we have multiple uniforms. We have a white set, Citadel blue set, gray set, navy set, and we show them the different, uniforms, and that's part of our presentation because all kids want to feel good about how they look on the court. And when it comes time, one thing we do, and I've done ever since I've been in the military school now for 15 years, is we put the names on the backs. And I always tell them as long as the name on the back doesn't mean more than the one on the front, we're in good shape. But every piece of clothing you had when you were at the Citadel had your name on it somewhere. Yeah. And so we feel the same way about our players, and they can at least be spotlighted a little bit by that. So we've done that. And
Coach, I wanted to ask you about the three-point line. You moved back this year. I haven't looked at national numbers at all, but just from watching the game, I don't think it's affected it too much. What are your impressions so far?
Now, we're shooting the highest percentage we've shot since we've been at the Citadel from three. Now, part of it's probably maybe we have a little bit better shooters, but the foot going back, the FIBA line really hasn't affected us. Ironically, you say that. We played an opponent last night who came in shooting 37%, and they actually played Division-III, plays from the O-line.
Okay.
So they didn't make the new rule change. So we were hoping that, maybe that foot not have practiced it because our freshmen had an adjustment when they first came in because it wasn't the high school line. So they actually had to move back 2 feet. So last night the guys moved back a foot, 2 inches, whatever it is, and they made 16 threes, the opponent. And we went into the game holding teams to 28% from three, which is one of the top, in the top 40 in the country. Yeah. And they went 16 of 36. So it was pretty interesting. I told Kyle Combs, who used to work for me, is now assistant at Piedmont. Okay. So I was coaching against him last night. And I said, you got a really nice team. I said, probably ought to shoot more threes. I said, you're shooting 37%, and tonight you shot 36 of them, made 16. You make 16 threes, you'll beat a lot of teams.
Yeah.
But it affected them like in no way, shape, or form. So
not a big deal, apparently.
Not a big deal, I don't think. It's what kids get used to, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, they're shooting from half court in high school anyway. I mean, they're like just practicing around, just having fun. So.
Well, I told Caden Rice last night, and Caden Rice has the most range probably on our team. And I got on him. I said, Caden, I'll never have a problem with you pulling up in transition. That's part of you. But you don't need to shoot one from the bridge. So on our court, I mean, it was a 34, 35 footer. He said, Coach, I got you.
Yeah.
But he's made some from the bridge before, so.
Yeah. I mean, you see that's like all on Facebook is Steph Curry and those guys. I mean, shooting from anywhere and everywhere. I mean, that's what basketball players entertain themselves with, I think, on the times that they can. So, well, Coach, we appreciate you being with us today. This is our last show of the year, so we do want to thank Toast again for having us all year. We want to thank Jeff for another great season, John Rawl, and Paul, who stepped in and did a few shows for us as well. And we want to thank all our guests for coming out and giving our viewers some new perspectives and some different things to talk about. So we also want to thank IPS Packaging and Automation for sponsoring us as well. And so check all those things out. And another shout out to John Rawl for putting all this together. And we'll be back next year.
And go Dogs.
Thank you.
All right.